WWII America presents Crosstalk, a nationwide call-in program discussing issues that have an effect on our families, our communities, our churches, our nation, and our world. Crosstalk, an opportunity for you to voice your concerns for biblical principles. And now live by satellite and around the world on the internet at vcyamerica.org. Here is today's Crosstalk.
And as always, we certainly appreciate you joining us on the WWII America radio network. In for Jim Schneider, I am Dalton Windsor on this Veterans Day 2025. What is it about the 11th hour of the 11th day of the 11th month of the year 1918? Well, we will answer that here momentarily. Before we do, and I know that when Jim does return to the studio, he will definitely get us completely up to date on this. But one matter that we were watching, Crosstalk was watching late last week, and then as it was announced yesterday, the U.S. Supreme Court did decline to review Liberty Counsel, the petition from Liberty Counsel, and Kim Davis versus Ermold, the case involving former Rowan County Clerk Kim Davis, by this refusal from the U.S. Supreme Court, by the refusal to hear the case, SCOTUS leaving the wrongly decided Obergefell opinion in place and a major constitutional question about religious freedom for government officials unresolved because they've declined to hear the case. Many remember, well, Kim Davis was the first victim that was jailed, sued, and held personally liable post-Obergefell for her religious beliefs for refusing to put her name on same-sex marriage licenses. And so, again, this was just yesterday, the U.S. Supreme Court declining to review the petition from Rowan County Clerk Kim Davis, refusing to hear the case, leaving lots of unanswered questions, and just this quick statement from Matt Staver and Liberty Counsel saying, "Our fight to overturn Obergefell is not over. It is not a matter of if, but when this wrongly decided opinion will be overturned." So we will, of course, keep you up to date on that as we learn more and in a future Crosstalk program. So on to the subject at hand for today. It is November the 11th, 2025, and, commonly known as now Veterans Day. And if you are a veteran, this day is for you, our friends. We thank you for putting on your nation's uniform and serving. And you say, well, that was a long time ago. Well, you did it. And we commend you for it. And it's not that it's something that you did, but really it's something and it's someone that you are. It's who you are. And we, all of us in America, we are benefiting today from what it was that you did all those years ago. And I know many personally who say, well, I was honored to serve, and they're very humble about that. And we certainly appreciate that position. But we do not take lightly the sacrifices that our veterans have made. So thank you. And we encourage you to stay with us this hour, because here very soon we will be opening up the phone lines and allowing our listeners to call in and honor a veteran. Call in and honor a veteran. And Veterans Day is all about those who are with us today. Now, we have Memorial Day in the spring when we remember those who gave their lives. And then come Veterans Day, of course, we remember them still who gave their lives, but then also those who are still with us today. Veterans Day. So back in 1918, it was the 11th hour of the 11th day of the 11th month of the year. And helping us today to kind of go a little deeper on how we got this Veterans Day. Who do we call on? But, of course, our brother in Christ and our resident historian, if you will. We sometimes refer to him that way. But we have Bill Federer from his series titled How We Got Here. Just a clip here of an episode that he simply titled Veterans Day.
On the 11th hour of the 11th day of the 11th month of 1918, World War I ended. Though the ceasefire, called Armistice, was signed at 5 a.m. in the morning, it specified that 11 a.m. would be the time the actual fighting would cease. Tragically, in the intervening 6 hours of fighting, an additional 11,000 more were killed. Following World War I, the war to end all wars, President Warren Harding in 1921 had the remains of an unknown soldier killed in France brought to Arlington Cemetery to be buried in the tomb of the unknown soldier. Inscribed on the tomb are the words, "Here rests in honor and glory an American soldier known but to God." On October 4th, 1924, President Calvin Coolidge stated at the dedication of the monument to the American Expeditionary Forces, they did not regard it as a national or personal opportunity for gain or fame or glory, but as a call to sacrifice for the support of humane principles and spiritual ideals. If anyone doubts the sacrifices which they have been willing to make in behalf of what they believe to be the welfare of other nations, let them gaze upon this monument and other like memorials that have been reared in every quarter of our broad land. Let them look upon the representative gatherings of our veterans, and let them remember that America has dedicated itself to the service of God and man. In 1926, President Coolidge began issuing proclamations honoring veterans every year, and in 1938, the day became a legal holiday. In 1954, the name Armistice Day was changed to Veterans Day to honor all soldiers of all American wars. 4 million Americans served in World War I. 16 million served in World War II. Nearly 7 million served in the Korean War. Nearly 9 million served in the Vietnam War. From the first Gulf War till the present, 7.4 million men and women served in the military. While Veterans Day honored the living soldiers, Memorial Day honored those who died while serving. General Douglas MacArthur told West Point cadets, May 1962, "The soldier, above all other men, is required to practice the greatest act of religious training, sacrifice. In battle and in the face of danger and death, he discloses those divine attributes which his Maker gave when he created man in his own image. No physical courage, no brute instinct can take the place of divine help, which alone can sustain him. However horrible the incidents of war may be, the soldier who is called upon to offer and to give his life for his country is the noblest development of mankind." In 1958, President Eisenhower placed a soldier in the tomb of the unknown from World War II and another soldier from the Korean War. In 1968, Lyndon Johnson signed the Uniform Holiday Bill, which moved Veterans Day to Monday to create 3-day weekend for federal employees. In 1984, Ronald Reagan placed a soldier from the Vietnam War in the tomb of the unknown soldier. DNA tests later identified the body as that of pilot Michael Blassie, who was flying an A-37B Dragonfly when shot down near An Loc, South Vietnam. In 1998, the body of Michael Blassie was reburied at Jefferson Memorial Cemetery in St. Louis, Missouri. Michael Blassie was a graduate of the U.S. Air Force Academy in 1970, and before that, a graduate of St. Louis University High School in 1966, the same high school I graduated from 10 years later. On Veterans Day, 1921, President Warren G. Harding stated, "On the threshold of eternity, many a soldier, I can well believe, wondered how his ebbing blood would color the stream of human life following on after his sacrifice. Standing on the hallowed ground, it is fitting to say that his sacrifice and that of the millions dead shall not be in vain. I can sense the prayers of the people of all peoples that this Armistice Day shall mark the beginning of a new and lasting era of peace on earth, goodwill among men. Let me join in that prayer. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom and the power and the glory forever. Amen.
Just interrupt here for a few moments. This is from his series titled How We Got Here, William J. Federer, and an episode simply titled Veterans Day. Bill continues here.
U.S. Army veteran Charles Michael Province wrote the poem, "It is the soldier, not the minister, who gave us freedom of religion. It is the soldier, not the reporter, who gave us freedom of the press. It is the soldier, not the poet, who has given us freedom of speech. It is the soldier, not the campus organizer, who has given us the freedom to protest. It is the soldier, not the lawyer, who has given us the right to a fair trial. It is the soldier, not the politician, who has given us the right to vote. It is the soldier who salutes the flag, who serves beneath the flag, and whose coffin is draped by the flag, who allows the protester to burn the flag. The American Legion is the nation's largest wartime veterans service organization. It was formed in 1919 with the help of 4 chaplains: Charles Brent, who was Roman Catholic, Francis Kelly, who was an Episcopalian, and 2 Baptists, Thomas Wiles and John Eisner. Baptist chaplain John Eisner spoke at the American Legion's founding meeting in St. Louis in 1919. Gentlemen, if you can only think about this Legion as the jewel of the ages, I cannot say anything greater than this. I believe God raised up America for this great hour. I can say that the strong young man of the time is to be the American Legion in this country and in the world. The preamble to the American Legion Constitution begins, "For God and country." In 1954, the American Legion sponsored a Back to God program. President Dwight Eisenhower addressed them in a broadcast from the White House, February 7th, 1954. As a former soldier, I am delighted that our veterans are sponsoring a movement to increase our awareness of God in our daily lives. In battle, they learned a great truth, that there are no atheists in the foxholes. They know that in time of test and trial, we instinctively turn to God for new courage and peace of mind. All the history of America bears witness to this truth. Out of faith in God and through faith in ourselves as his children, our forefathers designed and built this republic.
It is already break time, our Veterans Day program 2025. We will soon be opening up the telephone lines. We'll be back with a few more comments from Bill and then hearing from you. Stay with us.
Back to Genesis with Dr. John Morris, scientist with the Institute for Creation Research. Dr. Morris, where do blind cave fish come from?
Chris, it seems that some fish get trapped in caves living in total darkness. They have no use for their eyes, thus their eyes atrophy and no longer develop. But some of these fish are virtually identical to fish that live in lakes and streams nearby which do have eyes. I've long wondered what would happen if you took some of these blind fish and raised them in a lit environment. Would their eyes begin to develop? The fish still have the genes for eyes, but they're never switched on. Thus, the eyes are never expressed. I've often wondered if they're interfertile with the sighted fish. This seems to be a good research project, but as far as I know, the blind fish are protected, and no such research has been done. Chris, fish were created on day 5 of Creation Week, and that happened back in Genesis.
For more information, you can find us on the web at www.icr.org.
Thanks again for being with us on Crosstalk, Veterans Day 2025. We have began today by sharing a part of a video series from William J. Federer titled How We Got Here, and it's one of the episodes, this one titled Veterans Day. And just before the break, just so interesting it's always so interesting to listen to Brother Federer as he not only maybe brings back things to mind that we already once knew, or just simply reminds us of so many of the things that we know about our nation's history. And he was just talking about a portion there from President Dwight Eisenhower from the mid-50s, where Eisenhower would continue to say, "We remember the picture of the father of our country." Of course, talking about George Washington. "We remember the picture of the forefather of our country on his knees at Valley Forge, seeking divine guidance in the cold gloom of a bitter winter. Thus, Washington gained strength to lead to independence, a nation dedicated to the belief that each of us is divinely endowed with indestructible rights. We remember, too, that 3/4 of a century later, on the battle-torn field of Gettysburg, and in the silence of many a wartime night, Abraham Lincoln recognized that only under God could this nation win a new birth of freedom." President Eisenhower at the time concluded, "Today as then, there is need for positive acts of renewed recognition that faith is our surest strength and our greatest resource. This Back to God movement is such a positive act. As we take part in it, I hope that we shall prize this thought. Whatever our individual church, whatever our personal creed, common faith in God is a common bond among us. In our fundamental faith, we are all one. Together, we thank the power that has made and preserved us as a nation." He was clearly speaking to Christians here, wasn't he? By the millions, we speak prayers, we sing hymns, and no matter what their words may be, their spirit the same. In God is our trust. And then just a few more thoughts here from Bill Federer himself.
The next year, on February 20th, 1955, President Dwight Eisenhower again addressed the American Legion's Back to God program. The Founding Fathers, recognizing God as the author of individual rights, declared that the purpose of government is to secure those rights. In many lands, the state claims to be the author of human rights. If the state gives rights, it can and inevitably will take away those rights. Without God, there could be no American form of government, nor an American way of life. Recognition of the Supreme Being is the first, the most basic expression of Americanism. I hope you have enjoyed this episode of How We Got Here on the history of Veterans Day. God bless you.
All right, Bill Federer, we certainly always welcome him in anytime that we can get him on the air with us. And yes, obviously a pre-recorded portion of some of his work. You can listen to that again in its entirety if you want to check out our social media. I know that has been posted to our VCY America Facebook page today. The full video is right there, and it's available in other places too. You can follow William J. Federer on Facebook. He has a YouTube channel and all of those things. But certainly once you see that, then the best thing to do is not just keep it for yourself, but then share these wonderful resources of information with your family and friends. And having said all of this today, we do want to open up the telephone lines and hear from you across the country today on this Veterans Day. This is your opportunity to call in and spend about a minute or so. That's really about all the time we can allow in order to get more calls on. If you can keep your comments as heartfelt as you want, but then also as within about a minute or so that we can get as many calls on as possible. The telephone number is 1-800-733-9829. 1-800-733-9829. Call in to honor a veteran today. Veterans, we thank you so much. And now for our listening friends to call in to weigh in with their words of thanks across the country today. 1-800-733-9829, 1-800-733-9829, 1-800-733-9829. Did you catch those words from Bill Federer there in that poem that was written by an Army veteran about it being the soldier? It is the soldier. You kept hearing that over and over again. God willing, we'll share that again as the show progresses here today. But right now, it's to the phones we go. We say thank you to Maxine in Wisconsin. Thank you for calling Crosstalk today. You're on the air.
Yes, thanks. I would like to dedicate this to my dad. He was a World War II veteran. He served at Normandy. He was just a 17-year-old farm boy, and he volunteered. When he came home, he went to school with the GI Bill, and he was one of the first farmers in our area that farmed with the contour stripping of crops.
Wow.
And he was always very patriotic. He always thought the world of Eisenhower. I would also like to dedicate this to his brothers, my uncles Hank, Bob, and Lowell Brandis. And I would like to say a thank you to my cousin that served in Vietnam, Rodney McIntosh from Avoca, Wisconsin. Thank you.
Oh, thank you, Maxine, so very much. And thank each and every one of those who, of course, are receiving a due tribute today. Thank you, Maxine, in Wisconsin. Susie is in Ohio, the great state of Ohio. Susie, you're on the air. Thank you.
I just like to thank all the veterans. We couldn't have this freedom without you. God bless you. God protect you. Yes. And especially Paul Dunphy. His nickname's 88. He's a special friend. Thank you for your service, Paul. And thank you for the show.
All right. Susie from Ohio, we thank you for the call. Also in Ohio, calling in from Zanesville. We will answer the call here from Deborah. Hi, Deborah. You're on Crosstalk.
Yes, I want to honor my father, Verlin Gene Archer. He was in the 82nd Airborne Division, a Guard of Honor. He was in the American Paratroopers of Honor in about 1955, 56. He's a good man, and I love him, and God bless all the veterans. Thank you for having this show.
All right, thanks for calling, Deborah. The telephone number is 1-800-733-9829. 1-800-733-9829 as we get on as many calls as we possibly can today, simply to honor our veterans. This Veteran Day Tribute 2025. Lad is in Racine. Hi, Lad. You are on Crosstalk. Thanks for calling.
Yeah, I want to thank my father, who was wounded in the Korean War, and he's still alive. He's 91. Wow. And thank my grandpa, who fought and got wounded in World War I. So, and thank you to all the veterans.
All Bye-bye. Right. Thank you for the call, and to each one you mentioned there, Lad. 1-800-733-9829 to Sheboygan, Wisconsin. We'll welcome Carol to Crosstalk. Hi, Carol. Thanks for calling.
Hi. Thank you for taking my call.
Yes.
I'm calling in for my dad, who was in World War II, and also on the beaches at Normandy with your previous caller from Wisconsin. I wonder if they knew each other, but my dad's job was to help clear the minefields so that the soldiers could get safely through there, and my dad died a month before he turned 77, but he had stories for us. He wore his ice cream pants in the parades. My dad would carry the American flag, and just remembering him, and thank you, every single vet who was and is and will be. God bless you.
Yes, amen. All right, Carol, Sheboygan, Wisconsin, thank you for the call. 1-800-733-9829, 1-800-733-9829. This is the Veterans Day Tribute on Crosstalk, where listeners across the country can call in to simply give tribute to honor their veteran today. Star is in Wisconsin as well. Thank you for calling Crosstalk, Star.
Hi. I just want to say thank you to all the veterans, and I'm honoring my father. His name is Leon Miller. He was from Baraboo, Wisconsin. He was in World War II in Saipan, And then my oldest daughter, she lives in Kentucky, and her name's Tanya Van Zyl, and she was in Desert Storm.
Wow. Okay.
So,
all right.
thank you.
Yes, thank you. And each one of those who you mentioned there today. William is in Kentucky. Thanks for calling Crosstalk, William. You're on the air.
Yes, sir. I would like to thank my dad. He was in the Korean War. He was Theodore Jackson of Church. He from Whitley City, Kentucky. I just want to thank all the veterans. God bless you.
All right. Thank you for the call. Thank you. 1-800-733-9829, our Veterans Day phone-in program today, where you can phone in from wherever you are today to simply do what, William just did there in Florence, Kentucky, calling in to honor a veteran. Just get on there as best you can with your comment in about a minute or so that we can continue to get on as many calls as we possibly can. Roger is, again, another one from Wisconsin. Thank you for calling in, Roger. You are on the air.
Yes, I'd like to honor my nephew Joshua. Josh is serving in Texas, and I appreciate all what the veterans have done for us in our country.
Yes, well, that we can amen to that. And that is your nephew that's serving now? You say he's based in Texas?
Yeah, my great-great-nephew, yes.
Wow. All right, well, I know you're certainly proud of him.
I sure am.
All right. Roger, thank you for the call. We are getting close to another break, maybe one or two more quick calls on. Before that, we go to Joplin, Missouri. Hi to Philip. Philip, you're on Crosstalk.
Hey there. I'd like to give a shout out to, first of all the veterans, active and both retired, and those that aren't with us. My grandfather served World War II D-Day. My father served during the Vietnam War, and my wife is a veteran, and many of my uncles, aunts, and cousins as well. Thank you all.
Wonderful. All right, Philip, thank you for calling and listening there in Joplin, Missouri. And over to Doug in Lansing, Michigan. Doug, you are on Crosstalk. Thank you for calling.
Yes, I'd like to pay honor to my uncle who served in Vietnam. And I have a buddy that served in the Gulf War, and I have a son that just signed up for the Army National Guard, and I would like to thank all of them for their service. Thank you.
I can tell, Doug, that that uncle of yours means quite a bit, huh? Yeah.
Yes, he does.
Yeah. I understand. I certainly do. And having some in my own sphere, my own family, I know how special they are, and we appreciate all that they have, of course, done for our country, but then just for us personally. Before we would take another call, we're just going to pause because probably not enough time to get another caller on, but there is enough time to get more callers on the line to have them hold on so we can get to you on this, our Veterans Day tribute, a program where you can call in and honor your veteran. 1-800-733-9829, 1-800-733-9829. Veterans, it's all about you today. Thank you. Stay with us. There's more of these phone calls on the other side of the break when Crosstalk continues. The one book that's been credited as one of the major catalysts for the modern creationist movement is The Genesis Flood, authored by Dr. John Whitcomb and Dr. Henry Morris. More than 60 years ago, these two men joined together to write a controversial book that sparked dialogue and debate on Darwin, Jesus, science, the Bible, evolution, creation, and gave birth to the modern creation science movement. While skeptics cast doubt upon the authenticity of a universal flood, The Genesis Flood places before the reader the theological and scientific basis for a literal acceptance of the biblical account. This book provides illustrations, charts, diagrams, and sound documentation that harmonizes science with biblical truth. The Genesis Flood is available for a donation of $30 or more to WWII America. Call 1-800-729-9829. This is Crosstalk on the WWII America Radio Network. In for Jim Schneider, I am Dalton Windsor on this Veterans Day 2025. God willing, Jim will be back in studio with us here tomorrow. Looks like Raymond is in Racine, Wisconsin. Raymond, we thank you for calling Crosstalk on this Veterans Day. Who would you like to honor?
I'd like to honor my father, Ray Adamczyk Sr., passed away in 2005, served in the United States Navy after high school. He saw battles in World War II, the Normandy invasion on a USS Tuscaloosa heavy cruiser, and he served also in the Japanese theater in Okinawa and Iwo Jima, 7 battle stars that the warship had, honored by the American veterans. Also, my father-in-law, Raymond Gloss, who served in the Korean War between 1951 and 54, and also my uncle who was injured, Uncle Stanley, in World War II in Europe. And I want to also say that all the people should shake a hand or congratulate the veterans who have served and give them just a token of thank you for their service. Thank you, Dalton.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you for this call and for all of those that you mentioned, and can certainly hear one's heart when they call in about someone they know or knew and care and love, and it comes across, doesn't it? And we feel the love, and certainly praise God for these men and women who have made the ultimate sacrifice, and those who are still serving today, even those retired. I spoke with a veteran earlier today, and he said, "Oh, that was so long ago." And I said, that doesn't matter to me. It doesn't matter. The fact is that you did it, and it's not something you were. It's not someone you once were. It's who you are today. Your sacrifice still means so much, and that's what Veterans Day is all about. Raymond, thank you for the call. Mamie is in Ironwood, Michigan. Thank you for calling in. Mamie, you are on the air.
Hello. I'd like to honor my husband, Eugene Johnson, for his service in the Army Ready Reserves from 1967 to 73. Thank you.
All right. Thank you for the call. Getting a little bit of feedback there over the line. Nothing we could do about that. Certainly thank you, though, for the call. AL. Let's go to AL in Tennessee, the great state of Tennessee, calling into Crosstalk. Hi, AL.
How are you doing?
We're doing fine. Thank you for calling today.
I'd like to honor my brother. He was a crew chief, helicopter maintenance in Vietnam. Pulled 2 terms over there. My 2 boys, 2 oldest ones, A.L. and Jeff, they're all gone now, but I'd like to honor them.
Wow. Thank you. Thank you for calling in, and thank them, of course, for their service. God bless their memories to all who certainly knew them. 1-800-733-9829. It's a Veterans Day call-in program where you are welcome to call in and spend about a minute or so. We want to get as many calls on the air as we can today, just giving honor, giving tribute to the veteran in your life. 1-800-733-9829. Again, 1-800-733-9829, hearing from listeners across the country. Marlis is in California. Hi, Marlis. You are on Crosstalk.
Hi. I just appreciate being on because I want to honor my father who fought in World War II. He was near the front lines as in the Air Force, hearing the cries of the pilots as they went down with radar. He had a headset. My husband also was in actually Vietnam and on a isolated tour up in Alaska. And so I appreciate both of their service for our country.
Absolutely. All right. Marlis, thank you for the call. And a happy Veterans Day to all there in your realm. Shauna is in Oregon, so we'll head north from where Marlis was up to the state of Oregon and say hello, line 3. Shauna, you're on the air.
Yes, hi. I would like to honor my uncle, Earl J. Bird, who in 1945 got shot in the head against the enemy. He survived and got the Purple Heart. And I have an uncle, Terrell Ray Leonard of Oklahoma, who was in the Army and got the Bronze Star with Valor. And I would like to honor a dear, dear friend, Wayne White, who is a patriot, a cowboy, and a veteran.
Nice.
And I would like to appreciate all their service and every veteran out there.
Did you say a camp cowboy?
A camp cowboy.
Okay.
He does cowboy church, and he's a true patriot, and
Nice.
he's a veteran.
Ah, nice. Oh, thank you for sharing that, Shauna.
Sure, thank you so much, and thank you for all the veterans for your service and for our freedom.
Amen. Our Veterans Day call-in program, 1-800-733-9829. Over to Carolyn here in our broadcast city of Milwaukee, Wisconsin, home to headquarters to VCY. Hi, Carolyn, you're on the air.
Hello. I would like to thank my great-great-grandfather who immigrated here from Ireland and served in the Civil War.
Wow.
I'd also like to thank my grandfather who served in World War I, my dad who served in the Korean War, and many uncles who served. And I appreciate all of their service. Thank you.
All right. Thank you for the call. Michael is in Hillsboro, Ohio, line 4. Hi, Michael. Thanks for calling Crosstalk.
Yes, we're a proud family. I have 4 grandchildren in the military, 2 sons that have served. One served 2 tours in Iraq, and I have served, and my father received 2 Bronze Stars in Korea.
Wow.
And we'd like to honor those.
Certainly. We thank God for your entire family and all those who have served so well. Thank you for the call, Michael.
Thank you.
All right. Dennis in Wisconsin, thank you for calling in. Hi, Dennis. You're on Crosstalk.
Yes, I'd like to honor my father-in-law, Grant Smith, who was a bombardier on a B-17, and he was in on D-Day, and I believe he flew 33 missions. So those are the real heroes.
Yes. All right. Wow. Thank you for the call, Dennis. Anyone else?
All right. Yep, thank you.
Okay. All right. You are welcome. Ruth Ann is in Kentucky, line 3. Hi, Ruth Ann. Thanks for calling in on the Veterans Day tribute show today.
Thank you for taking my call. I have so many and numerous that I can't name them all, but I go back 3 generations of World War I, great uncles in World War II. I won't name them. Cousins in Vietnam, Dennis Harris, brother in Vietnam, Bobby Green, also cousin Matt Harris in Afghanistan, Iraq. Just so many in my family that have been in all the wars, and everybody out there. God bless you. And we love this country, and we're gonna save this country.
All right, Ruth Ann, thank you for the call, and thank you to all of those you mentioned today.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, Ruth Ann in Kentucky. Folks, continue to pray for our country and always to remember to pray for our troops. Gene is in Ironwood, Michigan, line 1. Thanks for calling in, Gene. You're on Crosstalk.
Yes, I'd like to honor 2 of my uncles, my Uncle Savino, who fought against the Japanese, and my Uncle Waldemar, who fought against the Nazis. And I'd also like to thank all my brothers that I served with in the U.S. Air Force during the Vietnam War.
Wow.
And God bless them. Thank
Yes, and you as well, Gene. Thank you for your service, friend. All right, in Ironwood, Michigan. 1-800-733-9829, 1-800-733-9829. It's our Veterans Day call-in program. Please go to your phone with a tribute for your veteran today. Diana also in Hillsboro, Wisconsin this time. Diana, thank you for calling. You are on the air.
Hello.
Hi, Diana.
Yes, this is Diana. I would like to honor our daughter, Emily, and our son-in-law, Luke. They both served in Iran and Iraq wars. In Afghanistan, sorry.
Oh, that's fine. Wow. Okay, anyone else?
Yes, I would like to honor my husband's uncle, and he just passed away this past year. And he was He was 40-some years in the National Guard.
Okay. All right.
And I'd like to God bless all the veterans, present and past.
Yes. Okay. All right, Diana.
Thank you.
Thank you for the call very much. Hillsboro, Wisconsin. Sound a little familiar, being, of course, home to Trail Ridge Camp. 1-800-733-9829. 1-800-733-9829. Over now to Phil. He is driving truck in Wisconsin today. Hi, Phil.
Hi, I'd like to, I have too many to mention, but there's a few specifics. One, I'd like to honor my grandfather, who, because he was fluent in high and low German, was a truck driver sent over to Germany to serve there. One of my good friends, Kayla, who's one of the 22, unfortunately passed this year. And then my Uncle Joe, who was my inspiration for serving, he served in Desert Storm, Desert Shield, and Iraqi Freedom.
Wow.
And for everyone that served before me, thank you for giving me the honor and the privilege to serve. And for everyone that serves after me, I thank you for continuing the legacy.
All right. Well, Phil, thank you. Thank you. What branch did you serve in?
I was a Navy corpsman.
All right. Thank you for your service, my friend.
Thank you.
You know, it was earlier this hour in the first segment where Bill Federer shared the words from that poem, that Army veteran poem that says, "It is the soldier, not the minister, who has given us freedom of religion. It is the soldier, not the reporter, who has given us freedom of the press." Think about it. It is the soldier, not the poet, who has given us freedom of speech. It is the soldier, not the campus organizer, who has given us freedom to protest. It is the soldier, not the lawyer, who has given us the right to a fair trial. It is the soldier, not the politician, who has given us the right to vote. It is the soldier who salutes the flag, the soldier who serves beneath the flag, and whose coffin is draped by the flag, who allows the protester to burn the flag. As was credited, a U.S. Army veteran, Charles Province, wrote that poem. We shared that as we began our program here today. Our Veterans Day tribute program, where you can call in giving tribute to your veteran. 1-800-733-9829, 1-800-733-9829. Our final segment is in front of us. Our lines are packed. We'll get back and get right back to the phones here on the other side of our break. 1-800-733-9829. Veterans listening, this program, it's for you. For you. Look what you've done for us. Thank you.
For the Worldview Report, I'm Brandon House. Our website's worldviewtube.com. Last week on my radio broadcast, a young man from Michigan called in. His name is Drew. And he went on to describe how he's an attorney. So he's someone who's gone to college, he's gone to law school, he's someone that knows how to collect information and data together. But he said that he stumbled on our broadcast. I think he was providentially led to our broadcast. And there he heard me lay out the clear gospel, just what's in the Bible. And he believed and was saved. Then he laid out in a lengthy email to me over the weekend all the remarkable things the Lord has done for him, his children, his wife. But he thanked us because there are so many gospels out there, so many people that are adding to the gospel, taking away from the gospel, making the gospel so confusing. I hope this encourages you to preach what Jesus preached. All who desire may come. All. Preach the gospel to everyone. There are people eager to hear it. I'm Brandon House.
this could certainly be more than a 1-hour program, and that's always the case when Jim would set in for a Veterans Day program or whatever it may be. So we know we can't get to everyone today, but we're certainly thankful for those who can call and get in for our Veterans Day program today. Nancy is in Tennessee. Hi, Nancy. You're on Crosstalk.
Hi. Thank you for what you're doing, and I just wanted to thank all the veterans, but especially in honor of my brother-in-law, Danny Smith, who died from it, not in it, and then John Watson and Donnie Kidd, who are both local soldiers. And I just thank you for this opportunity. I said, Lord, I'm going to start a new tradition, and it's to thank a veteran. Who knew I would get such a chance? Thank you.
Oh, nice. Nicely done. Yes, we certainly should find ways to let them know how much we do truly appreciate them in our families, in our church families, maybe just at a place of business. Let's all make sure to tell a veteran thank you, and any time that we certainly get an opportunity. Jackie is in Glendale, Arizona. Hi, Jackie.
Hi there. I want to honor, my father, who he wasn't in the World War II, but he was in the tank division before in 38 and 39. And my husband was in the Navy during the Korean War, and my brother Rick Setlin is from Georgia. He graduated. Yeah, he got out of the Navy in Georgia, or in the Army in Georgia, and he served in Vietnam. So he had a career, and I'm just proud of everybody, and I thank everyone that was in the wars and did all the stuff that they did. We had a memorial service here at our park today, and it was wonderful.
Nice.
So I just want to thank everyone.
All right, Jackie, thank you for calling in and sharing, and glad to know sounds like it's been a real blessing of a day there in Glendale. Carla is in Tennessee. Carla, thank you for calling Crosstalk.
Yes, thank you. I just wanted to honor my dad, Denzel Hughes, who fought in the Vietnam War.
Nice. Okay. Well, wonderful. I'm glad you called in today.
Thank you, and God bless.
And yes, thank you, and thank the Lord for his service, your dad's service to our country. 1-800-733-9829. We probably won't be able to get to every one of you that are trying to get in, but we're trying to get to you. Thank you for calling. Sandy is in Michigan. You are on Crosstalk, Sandy.
Good afternoon.
Hi.
I would like to just honor my dad, Lieutenant Richard Shea, for serving in the U.S. Army, and my husband, John Pera, who served in the U.S. Navy in Vietnam. And just thank the Lord for all of my other relatives who have served and are serving, and for everyone else who's serving as well.
Yes, I agree. Thanks, Sandy. Thanks for the call. Over to Judith in Lancaster, Kentucky. Hi, Judith. Thanks for calling in today.
Thank you for taking my call. I want to honor my father. He came over here when he was 12 years old from Sweden, and he ended up learning English and getting through school and joining the Army. It was called the Army Air, something like that. It wasn't the Air Force yet. He fought in the Pacific coast, the Pacific Theater, and in Japan and all the islands.
Wow.
And then he stayed in for 33 years. My husband fought in Vietnam and in a place they shouldn't have been for 6 months, layoffs, and it's open now. I mean, everybody knows about it, but it was very secretive with the CIA.
Yeah.
And he was a Ford Air controller that flew those little O-1 bird dogs and found the enemy and reported back to the jets so they could shoot them and get rid of the people down in the bottom that were trying to kill them in the jungles.
Wow.
And I also had a son in the Air Force and one in the Army. And I'm an Air Force brat, of course.
Yes. All right, Judith.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for the call. And to all of them you mentioned, Steve is in Arizona. Hi, Steve. You're on Crosstalk.
Hi, I'd like to honor my father, who was in World War II and in Korean War, and he wound up in the Army Air Corps, went into the Air Force, and did 12 years. I have an uncle who was in the South Pacific. He was a waist gunner on a B-24. And my brother served in 1970-73, and I have a cousin that served 67 to 70. And all the veterans out there, I want to honor and thank them all.
Yes, absolutely. All right. Yeah. All right, Steve. Thank you for calling in. Judy. Yeah. Judy is in Wisconsin. Hi, Judy. You're on the air.
Hi. I'd like to thank my 4 uncles that served in World War II, and my husband served in Vietnam, and I have a daughter that served in the Army National Guard.
Oh, wonderful. I know you're proud of them.
Yes, I am, and thank you for your program.
All right. Thank you for calling. One more. Mary Ann is in New York City. Hi, Mary Ann. You're on the air.
Hi. I'd like to give honor to my Uncle Joel, who was in the Bataan Death March.
Wow.
And he survived miraculously. And also my dad in World War I. My grandfather that was in the Revolutionary War, and a grandfather in the Civil War.
Wow.
Who, when he came home, he enlisted when he was 17. He came home very ill because he had been a prisoner.
Wow.
And he died soon after he came home.
Mary Ann, I know you're proud of your family, and as we all are, thank you for letting us know about them and for sharing here today. We will run out of time here very quickly, so we just, again, want to say thank you to our veterans. This program today has been all for you. But before we close today, maybe you yourself, maybe you're listening and you said, well, I've never served my country, but I have much respect for those who have served our country. But may I ask you, and let us ask all of us, who are we serving? Scripture gives us a challenge that we should choose this day who it is that we will serve. You and I, we may or may not have, in fact, ever worn one of our nation's uniforms, but all of us will, in fact, one day stand before the God of all creation, and on that day, He will basically look at us and say, what did you do with my only Son, Jesus? May we, as Joshua did in Joshua chapter 5, may we fall on our face, we sinners, and worship Him. And like Joshua said, what saith my Lord unto His servant? And then may we obey His word from this day forward and have the opportunity to be serving the King of Kings and the Lord of Lords. That's for all of us to consider today.
You've been listening to Crosstalk via satellite and the internet from WWII America. Views expressed may or may not be those of this station. For a CD of today's program, send a donation of $6 or more to WWII Take Ministry, 3434 West Kilbourne Avenue, Milwaukee, Wisconsin, 53208, or download by RSS or podcast from crosstalkamerica.com. And join us again for Crosstalk.